All right, everybody. This is Mark Zweig, and we're back with another episode of Big Talk About Small Business. I don't have my co-host with me today, Eric Howerton. He's decided he had to go somewhere. I don't know where he is right now, but the guy's a busy guy. But I do have in the studio today a very special guest, and that is Trent Brock.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I just met Trent a few weeks ago at the Cancer Challenge lunch where he was one of our featured speakers. And Trent's got a great story to tell about both personal survival.
There's some of that. There's a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And business. The guy is one impressive guy who has overcome a lot of challenges and still keeps a great attitude. And that's what we need more of out there in the entrepreneurship and small business world.
Well, on the outside.
On the outside?
Yeah, on the outside.
You do a good job.
Yeah. Hey, fake it till you make it.
That was always our philosophy.
Hey, that's right. I learned that from a valuable business partner.
Did you?
Yeah, it worked a lot. It worked well for a long time. Still working.
We'll come back to that. So Trent, just for the purpose of our guests or our listeners rather out there.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up and what's your story?
Gosh. Well, I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana. And, that's just a regular city in the South. I wouldn't say anything special about it. Has the comforts of life and all the normal things. Went to Louisiana Tech University.
Okay.
Graduate. Well, I got a degree in biology and chemistry. I wanted to do the doctor thing.
Oh, so you were going to go to med school?
I thought I was.
Okay.
And I couldn't pass the MCAT. Yeah. Bombed it twice. First time I took it.
Yeah.
I took it to just try it out. Second time I studied all summer, took the big course, did all the thing, thought I nailed it, got the results, same score.
Well, you weren't meant to be a doctor.
No, I wasn't.
But you were sort of, in a way, kind of prophetic about your own health situation, right?
I guess. Yeah, it's come back around. That's for sure.
So anyway, you didn't go to med school,
right?
Obviously. So then what happened?
Well, something really cool happened. I didn't know what I was going to do, right? So I'm kind of struggling. How am I going to get a job with a biology and chemistry degree? So I was talking to my flatmate, and he said, "Look, man, go talk to this business professor. He's a good guy."
Yeah.
I just went in and talked to him one day. By the end of the conversation, I was his graduate assistant, and I was going to MBA school. And I did that for 2.5 years.
Did you?
That's what happened. So I got my MBA and did the IT thing with it, which was the hot thing at the point back then, and off we went. Yeah.
So what was the IT thing for you?
It was just the IT emphasis with an MBA, and that was a really catchy deal. So it was kind of my minor.
So you got that out of the way. Yeah. Then what happened?
Then what I wanted to do is I wanted to travel. Okay. I wanted to make good money, and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to do it on someone else's money. Mm-hmm. And so I joined Accenture, which used to be Anderson Consulting.
Sure, yeah, that was the biggie. I mean, they were number one, and
awesome.
Yeah,
they were awesome. I've lost touch with all that now, because I've been the popcorn man for 14 years.
Yeah,
but man, it was a good gig. I really enjoyed it. I traveled. I learned. I traveled on their nickel, and, I saw the country on their money.
I know the guy who changed Anderson Consulting into Accenture.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. He's a marketing guy in Chicago, Michael Krause.
Okay.
But,
interesting.
Yeah, fortunately they did that before the Arthur Anderson accounting meltdown.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's
it was
exactly
very lucky, I think, that they had sort of disassociated themselves from the name before that whole thing imploded over the over the what was it, the company that
Enron.
Yeah,
Enron and Dynegy.
That's right.
Yeah, I own some Dynegy stock.
Did you? I don't know anything about Dynegy. One of my friends,
the little brother.
What was it? One of my friends was a partner at Arthur Anderson, though, and I lost his job in the course of all that.
I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people did.
Yeah.
I lost my rear end on some stock.
I'll bet you did. So anyway, you did Anderson Consulting, and where did you travel with them? Or excuse me, Accenture.
Well, yeah. I was all over the States, really.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that was really cool was, we had a budget to travel back to our home base every week.
Mm-hmm.
And if we booked a ticket or had expenses that were lower than what that would cost, it was a win for the company.
Sure.
So, me and all my, coworkers,
Mm-hmm.
Young people in their mid-20s, early 30s kind of thing, we would, do something for the weekend. We would go fly somewhere, or we would go to Key West, or, so we traveled and did that a lot, because most of us, you're in an in-between life.
Sure.
You've got a few days, during the week,
Right.
and you're at home, and then you got a few days you're away, and it's really kind of hard to cultivate. So people that are in that lifestyle normally migrate together.
I did that with a family, so it was hard.
Wow.
I mean, I would go home every weekend, but I traveled during the week, and I know what that's all about. It's that re-entry and getting back into the home life was always stressful, especially if you didn't have more than a couple days to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then have to head out again.
That's right.
So you weren't married or anything at that time?
No,
that's good.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, always, had a significant other, along the way, but never got serious.
Right.
Yeah. Never got married.
So you did that for how many years?
I did that for about 5-6 years.
Okay.
And then I got burned out.
Yeah.
And I took a break.
Yeah.
And I took a sabbatical. That was the cool thing to do then. Everybody take a year off.
Hey, if you can do it, more power to you.
That was the plan.
So you were about 30 then, or what?
Close to 30, late 20s.
Okay.
20s, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'd built up a few kind of personal goals over the years. I wanted to try to, I thought potentially, do I want to maybe be a professor or a teacher of some sort? I didn't want to teach kids, but I thought, like, why not? If you want to come to class, come to class. The kids that come to class are the ones that want to learn. If you don't want to come, go do whatever.
Right.
I don't want to fight that. So I thought maybe I'd do that.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to try to learn Spanish.
Okay.
And then I kind of started doing my research, and I thought, well, Spain's the place to go, because that's where Spanish started, right?
That is. That's a Spanish-speaking country.
Well, there you go. And then you get Europe with it. You get Europe.
And
so
they got good weather there.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Depending on where you are, I guess.
Yeah, I was in Madrid.
Okay.
It would be pretty hot. It'd be pretty hot. It didn't snow a lot, but gosh, it'd get hot,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I'm used to that, being from Louisiana.
Yeah, you are. You got that and the humidity.
Land of the swampy people.
Yeah. So anyway, so you go to Madrid. What did you do there?
So I got my English teaching certificate, and I taught English.
Okay.
So I had this cool niche where, I had this graduate, I was an MBA and I had business experience. So I was teaching some business people, business English and stuff like that. And then some people for proficiency.
What is it? Business English, where you use a lot of buzzwords and like say at the end of the day, and I'm going to lean into that, and then we pivot, or what?
Oh my gosh. Those kind of things. These guys were just trying to learn English. For me.
Okay.
Really, it was just a catchy thing for a niche to say, I've got some business experience and I can talk with these people.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So you taught English for a while.
Yeah. And I tried to learn Spanish. Disaster. Absolute disaster. That's the second hardest thing I ever tried to do in my life.
Med school and then learning Spanish.
Yeah. Big goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Spanish thing, I didn't know a lick of Spanish, really. I had taken a couple classes, right, in college.
Sure.
The professor's like, hey, man, you could really excel at this. And I thought, well, what do? You immerse yourself. That's what everyone's doing. No way. It doesn't work like that, okay? I got over there the first day I was there, okay? I'm in the airport. They've lost my luggage. They can't even speak English in the airport.
Oh, no.
Okay, we're pointing at colors, pointing at bags, pointing at sizes, and I thought to myself, I have done it. I have done it. So I did. I got a gig. I did get a gig where I was teaching English, and then they had associated Spanish classes. So they were teaching a lot of languages in the school. So I had a thing where I could teach some English, and then I got my Spanish classes for free. So I was taking Spanish every day. So I got better.
Yeah. What was it like living over there? Like, where did you live?
I lived in Madrid, and man, it's European, man. It's laid back.
Did you have an apartment or what?
I flatted, man.
Okay.
I mean,
What does flatted mean?
it means you roomed up with you
Okay.
you roomed with people. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, in the U.S., it's a roommate. A roommate in another country is literally a roommate in your room. A flatmate is someone that you share a flat with.
I see. So you have your own room, but then you got some common.
Yeah. Man, we're not going to get into everything because, I mean, this is the whole story. Because I lived with 3 Bulgarian guys. Okay. One of them spoke Spanish, one of them spoke English, and the other one couldn't speak anything. So you can imagine us all trying to sit around and talk. But these guys were awesome, man. They were like my brothers. They protected me. You know, we hung around together. And, you know, you learn to communicate with people when you can't even talk to them.
Sure.
You know, and you pick up on the vibe of people and who they are and how they are. And, you know, these guys were rough. They were tough. They were construction guys. But you know what? We were friends.
That's good.
And it worked. It worked, you know. And so, you know, the weirdest thing ever, you ove to Spain and you live with Bulgarians.
3 Bulgarian construction guys.
Yeah, man.
Well, what happened after that?
So, you know, I did a year of that and that was kind of that. And so, you know, I was pretty much broke. And I was like, well, I'm going back into IT, but I'm going to do something internationally. That's what I wanted to do. I kept wanting to go on an international project with Accenture, and they just kept, you know, it was all U.S. based, which was fine, you know. And so I was like, you know, I've got the skills, and I'm gonna be a contractor. I'm going for the big money. You know, and so that's what I did. I started out, and I started going worldwide, and I got on some projects, and I worked in New Zealand. For most of the time, and then I got on some projects in like Australia and Indonesia and a little thing in England and all that, and then I kept ending up back in New Zealand.
Okay.
Well, one week I was in the boxing gym. I used to do, you know, me into boxing and kickboxing and stuff like that. Training, not fighting. Okay, I don't want anybody to hit this face, not at all. So I met these American guys that had come in and they were there for several weeks getting ready for matches. I met their manager. This guy's a serial entrepreneur, man. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Has his hands in all sorts of small business. And one of the things was they were from the home state of Washington, and he did kettle corn, you know, during the spring and the summer. And he's like, it's a great business. Do they have it here? Well, we got to know each other, you know, over the several weeks that they were there, and we would take training together, and then we'd go eat dinner together, and we decided we're starting a weekend business.
Okay.
So we got some money together. We had some, you know, primitive popcorn makers made.
Right.
And got some tents and started going out to local market. So I was doing IT during the week, and then I was doing the popcorn on the weekends. I would say about 8 months. The money was good enough. I quit the IT. I wanted out. I got tired of sitting behind a desk. I wanted to do my own thing. Back then, you know, the definition of success was you'll never, you know, be what you want to be unless you do your own thing.
Sure.
And so, you know, that's what I went for.
Popcorn was popping.
And the thing was, it wasn't in New Zealand. They didn't have it. They didn't know what it was. All they had was like butter popcorn and caramel popcorn. They didn't have the middle. And I just knew, you know when you have those feelings?
Sure.
You just know that you know.
Yeah.
And you know. And I knew that this thing was going to work. Now, how good it was going to work, I didn't know. But it worked good enough for me to quit my job in 8 months.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, so then we were doing the markets, right? So we started out, and the way things were, we had 2 setups made. So we were doing one, and I had my buddy going out to the market with me on the weekend, and I mean, just crazy stuff was happening. Like, you know, I had this old box truck, and all our gear was in it, and you know, I mean, it's your rag to kind of riches, so to speak, story. I moved in with these guys, and I said, look, the deal is I'm not taking the room unless I can have the garage. So I put half of my junk in the garage. I had an old box truck that we had all the gear in, and I started going out with my buddy. And on the weekend, one weekend, man, I go inside to grab him. You know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, right? So I go in to grab him on a Saturday morning. I come out, the freaking truck's on fire underneath. Yeah. So I get a rag. I get the fire out, and he's like, "We're not going." I'm like, "Yeah, we're going." We took the truck anyways, man. We went, and you know, it was just those kind of things that would happen. And we got to where we started with 2 setups, then we went to 4. And we were like,
pop in these trucks? Is that the idea?
Well, what we did is we would take the setups, and then we would have a tent. So it's like where you go to a typical farmer's market.
Right.
You set up a tent, you get all your gear out, an hour or two before everybody shows up. And you start popping that popcorn, man.
Oh, so you made it right there.
Oh, yeah.
The smell.
Oh, yeah.
It drags people over to your area, right?
Kettle crack. I'm telling you. It was money for jam, And it was a great cash business. We made really good money doing that. And that was kind of the plan. It was my weeks were kind of backwards. It was like, Friday to Sunday. And then during the week, I was getting ready and trying to find markets. And man, I'm a dog, I'd go for anything. So just to give you an idea, we would run like 4 setups. And man, I would do anything and everything I get my hands on. So we got contracts like with the rugby stadium. We would do weddings or nonprofits or school galas, and we did the weekly markets. We did about 6 or 7 weekly markets a week in the morning, at night, all the time. And in 7 years, we did over 2,500 market events.
Holy cow, that's a lot, all right.
I mean, that's
more than one a day on average.
Yeah.
Of every single day.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, that's just, I was like, well, and the thing that
that was your entire distribution?
That was the start. That was the start.
That was the
start.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the little brother thing.
Got it. Okay. Then what happened?
Then we were at a market, and the lady from one of the cinemas tried our popcorn, and she said, "We want this. We can't make this sweet popcorn in our machines. We want your popcorn." Okay. So that moved us. That's the start of the manufacturing, the retail, all the stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it was just, we started out, so, we're making everything by hand. And then, so these guys, we don't want, we can't have this in a plastic bag. We need this in a real potato chip retail looking bag.
Right.
Like
this. Okay.
That, right? Something like that.
Yep.
And so that's where everything started, learned about packaging and distribution. And we would pop by hand with our popcorn makers. We would dump it out. We would sift it by hand. Then we would take the popcorn, right? And we would take the scoop, and we would have a bag. We didn't have all the machinery. We had a little scale, about, like a little foot scale. Okay?
Yeah.
And we had a little hand sealer thing. And that's how we started. And the first day we had like 4 or 5 people. We worked like 8 or 9 hours, man. And we made like 400 bags of popcorn.
It's like, this ain't going to work, right?
Well, we launched into about 6 cinemas with about 3 or 4 boxes in each one.
Uh-huh.
And we went out.
They just sold out.
Yeah, man. It went crazy. We would send people out. We would send our weekend people wanted something to do, right? So I had a few people that were annual with.
Sure.
They want something to do. We send them to the cinema to do samples. Mm-hmm. We're selling out. We're selling better than their stuff. They're like, you know what? The profit margin isn't where we want to be. I mean, if you know how movie theaters operate.
Yeah, sure. They make all their money on concessions.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they kicked us out and said, we aren't making the money we need to on you guys, and you guys are showing us up. We're done. Uh-huh. So we kind of had to, rejig the plan, and it was like, you know what? This is a supermarket product. Mm-hmm. This isn't a cinema product. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we did. So we started going out, pitching to distributors, and we got one. Mm-hmm. And that's where it all began. We started with the sweet and salty popcorn, mm-hmm. and over the years, the things, for example, let's see, just to kind of give you an idea on size. So we started in a 1-car garage,
right?
Then a 2-car garage, then about 2,000 square feet, and then like 6 to 8,000, and then like 15,000. I mean, it's just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
And we got to the point where, each time we would do this, we would upgrade as well with the machinery. So we'd take out a manual step.
Sure.
And we would add in something that was
automation.
Right?
Yeah.
Take out the human part.
Sure.
The human element was the thing.
Huh?
And so, over time we got to that point, and we got to where we were serving, we had several hundred supermarkets in New Zealand. We're still kind of doing this by hand halfway. So we went for it, man. We got to,
You're funding all this internally?
Most of it was funded internally. Okay, because we were using the money from the weekends to buy the stuff,
right?
To buy our manufacturing, and that's the big boy.
Right.
So to give you an idea, towards the end, what would happen was we would go out all weekend, right? And I was working, 12 days on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. in one day making popcorn is what we would make in all 12 of those days. And I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of killing myself. This is silly. So we just kind of stopped doing the markets, and I eventually sold that off to a mom and pop deal. And that was cool, you know. So they still had advertising, still out there, still marketing our brand and everything for us and all that.
That's good.
But we moved to the manufacturing. So, you know, and at that point in time, you know, we weren't making a lot of money, but we were making some money. We borrowed some money as well, you know, privately. And it's like, well, are we gonna buy one piece? We need about 12 pieces of machinery, you know, cookers, conveyors, sifters, weighers, baggers, all these checkweighers, all this stuff, right? What are you going to do? You're going to buy one piece of the machinery from the U.S. for $500,000, or are you going to buy the whole thing from China for $200,000? Everything. So we found this guy that had been recommended by, you know, a fellow that had been our engineer and kind of with us the whole way. And he said, look, I'm retiring, I'm getting old, but I'm handing this guy to my business, handing it over, and why don't you go for the, you know, try it with this guy. It'll be his first import, you know, his first big deal. So, you know, we went for it, man. So we got the whole line. We got the whole line of kit and caboodle. And, you know, we didn't need something like a Frito-Lay.
Sure.
You know, I mean, we're running 24/7, lights out every day, 500 bags a minute or something crazy. You know, we're just 8 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, you know, 15, 20 bags a minute. You know, we're making money. We're good.
Sure.
So, you know, and, you know, eventually the plan had been the whole time we would upgrade as we went. And
that's what most manufacturing businesses, though. I've had limited experience, but some.
Yeah.
Just seems like no matter what you do, you're trying to push to get your volume up, and then as soon as you do, you got to invest money in more equipment.
It's
you know, it's like a never-ending cycle of investing.
Yep.
And it's hard to get on top of that. That takes a lot of capital.
It does. It's, you know, there was never a balance. I was always in an unbalanced state. It was either we had, you know, we had more machinery and we wanted to run it more.
Or more demand than you could.
Exactly. More, you know, not enough staff or too much staff.
Sure.
You know, that it was always one of those kind of things, just trying to always find that sweet spot.
Right.
But, you know, hey, it is what it is, right?
Sure.
And so then, you know, we got from one line that we could just do kind of one size on, and then we bought another line where we could do little bags, and then we bought another line where we could do multi-packs, and we started expanding our sizes.
Yep.
And then they want flavors. So every year or every 6 months when you go in to see the buyer, they want the new thing. They want a new flavor. They want a new size. They want a new product. They want product development. They just want new.
Right.
So, you know, like,
got to keep the market interested.
All the time.
New is what it takes.
All the time, man. You know.
Yep.
And I'm a little guy, you know. I'm just a little guy selling a couple bags of popcorn, you know. And you got these potato chip guys, you know, coming in with different seasonal flavors and blah blah blah. And so I'm trying to, you know, keep up with these guys and do that kind of stuff. And so we got into it, you know, where it was like once we had a meeting and we saved that SKU for the year, we still had it, we had our numbers. It was like, what are we gonna do next year? You start on something already. So it would start, man. I would start in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I would.
Just experimenting.
You got it.
Yep.
And then, you know, we do taste tests with all our friends. And then we do it, you know, then we do it out somewhere public, and so, and then we take it in and we hang it all out and say, well,
making a zillion of these, right?
Well, yeah, we looked at the numbers, we looked at everything. What do you think? So, you know, a couple of them didn't work. A couple of flavors didn't work along the ways, and a couple sizes didn't work along the way, and that hurts. That hurts a lot.
Yeah,
put a lot of money into it, put a lot of time into it, put a lot of, you know, research and you know, R&D and you know, marketing behind it, and then it flops, and it could flop for many reasons that you have no control. And so we had a few of those, you know, like we had a sour cream and chives. Sour cream and chives is the second most popular potato chip flavor.
Right, but didn't translate to popcorn.
I think it would in America, but with the New Zealand culture, they are not into variety. They're not into, you know, adventure and experience. They just like what they like, and this is what we like, and this is what we're going to buy.
It's the British influence, I guess.
Absolutely is.
You know?
Boring. It's boring, man. And like, I used to carry around salt and pepper and Tabasco with me.
What, living in England, you mean?
Living in New Zealand, man. Yeah, everything was just, it's
bland.
Different now. It's
sure.
Different now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Man, back in the day, you know, it's like 3 options of food. You know? So,
that's funny.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Gosh. So we kept growing and we got bigger and bigger. And then it was like, well, we've kind of thought of like we've tried kind of all the flavors we could do. We've kind of done all the sizes we could do. we're starting to get saturated in the market, and that's one of the things in a small country. It's 5 million people.
Is small. Yeah,
5 million, man. It's the size of a state.
Sure.
It's like
not even a big state.
Yeah, exactly. So it was good from a marketing perspective and a popularity perspective because we could saturate the whole country, with minimal marketing dollars, but you only have so many supermarkets.
Sure.
And so then we had to start going international.
Right. So Australia would be obviously the next logical.
That was the next
I
logical.
would think.
It was the next logical, but you know what, man? They're tough. They're mean over there. Their percentages are higher. Their requirements are meaner. And we had a couple of opportunities, and even with the exchange rate and everything, never worked out. So we figured out we're going to go where people want us instead of where we got to try to fight.
Sure.
So I did a show in Singapore. That's really the gateway to Asia. A lot of the stuff comes in there, and whatever the trends are, they kind of blow out to a lot of the other places. And I did a lot of R&D and work with.
It's affluent. They want.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure.
Multicultural expat community. Yeah. That deal.
Sure.
And they're very wide open to try all sorts of different things. And so I went to a show there, and we got our popcorn in a couple of stores there. And then we kind of started, growing, and we started going to, we got into Taiwan and Hong Kong and Malaysia and some things like that, and then eventually the Middle East. But it was still this pressure. What's next? So then we started a microwave popcorn company. And so,
this thing really took off.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, when we did the markets, not only were we doing popcorn, but then the cotton candy guy got tired of his business, so I bought that. And then there was a side thing to do toffee apples or caramel apples. So we started that.
You are what I would call an opportunistic entrepreneur, not somebody that sits there and does a lot of research and goes, the next step in my plan is to bring a toffee apple company in.
Yep.
Instead, you just responded to opportunities that came your way, right?
Never had a business plan.
Yeah.
My business partner flies by the seat of his pants. It's not really my style, but I learned to live in that environment and do it.
So you did have a partner through this whole thing?
I had a business partner. I had a business partner through the whole thing. He was kind of the brains behind the whole, I know the black magic to make the popcorn, and he'd run several businesses.
So were you equal owners?
Yeah, we were equal owners. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was on the ground. I was kind of on the ground guy, and he would do a lot of the back end stuff.
Yeah, you're the front end sales and marketing.
Yeah, and on the ground operations and all that kind of stuff. And he would do a lot of the stuff on the back end where somebody wasn't present. Yeah. Like the invoicing and the accounting and the collections and all the stuff I didn't have time to worry about.
Right.
So it worked well. It worked well.
Sure. Different skill sets usually is a good requirement. You're not treading in each other's territory.
That's it. Yep.
So now we got the microwave popcorn.
So we got the microwave thing, and about our popcorn, the reason we're different is I'm going sales on you here.
All right, that's fine. I can handle.
We had to have if you want to do something in the market, you got to have something that's different. You got to do something better, different, or something than the other guy, right?
Right.
And so New Zealand is very green. They're very environmental. They're very all natural. There's a big push for that. They have a lot of vegan and vegetarian
nation. They can't just keep expanding their bounds, right?
That's right.
Limited resources.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we had the vegan vegetarian thing. There's a lot of Indian people that live there.
Okay.
And then on top of that, just people that are concerned about their diet and holistic or whatever.
Sure.
And so, we had the vegan and vegetarian thing going on for us, and then we had the allergy-free deal. There's a lot of allergies in New Zealand. People, one in 4 people have something.
Corn allergies are fairly common too, aren't they?
Yeah, well, not corn.
Okay.
Gluten, dairy, soy, peanut, nut, those are all common. But no, the corn thing isn't very much, and it's not anything that if somebody has a reaction, it's not gonna kill them.
Sure.
So
like peanut allergies.
That's
sure.
Deal with that.
Crazy, yeah.
Because we serve the schools as well. We got into doing school lunches, and we got into a government contract, and we were serving the schools and things like that. And man, I'm telling you, something happened to one of the kids, and it was your product. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. So we were true. We were true to what we had and what our claims were.
You understood your market. You were serving. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the whole all natural thing, and then it's New Zealand made. And one of the things that I knew living there was the New Zealanders, they are very proud of what they have and what they have. So like their rugby team.
Yeah.
Or, a couple of food dishes that they've said that they've invented, or, some of the things along the way that they've done.
Sure.
And so we named this thing New Zealand kettle corn.
Yeah.
Like they owned it. And they loved it and they supported it. It was a New Zealand made product.
Sure.
And they love supporting New Zealand made stuff.
Yeah.
So, we had all those things. I mean, New Zealand made is, we're on the back, man. We're on the back. So, that was kind of our whole marketing plan, and we were more expensive. We were handmade, but I'll tell you what, man, I'm a bit partial, but it's the best popcorn on the planet. It's made by hand.
Sure.
It's all made with that blood, sweat, and tears deal. And, you just can't beat it, man. You can't beat it putting it in that kettle and making it from scratch the old-fashioned way. Were you going to eat grandma's cookies or the ones from the supermarket?
Right.
What do you like better?
Yeah, grandma.
And so I win every time, So that was kind of our thing. And we grew from, what we were to the number 2 manufacturer in the country. And then we had to start expanding out, like we kind of talked about internationally.
So then what happened?
Well, in the middle of working on the naked kernel thing, the microwave popcorn, I got hip bone cancer.
How did you find out you had that?
Oh man, what a story! Yeah, so I started limping around the factory. I'm very active. I lead from the front, show my guys how to do things.
Oh, you're a kickboxer, right?
Well, I just, I knew how to do everything because I started from the ground up.
Sure.
So, when we were a small business, we didn't have the money to hire an engineer or to pay somebody to do this. So, I did everything. And I'm limping around the factory, and I go to a couple doctors, and they say, man, you've torn your butt. You've torn a butt muscle. I'm like, okay. And I had to go into the hospital for some blood work. And the hematologist said, Trent, something's wrong. You're getting an x-ray. Okay, whatever. I get an x-ray. A week later, that call, that one that changes your life. And it was that you have hip bone cancer. It's extensive. It's aggressive. You have a 1/4 inch of bone holding your leg on. And every step that you take, you could break your leg. We're surprised you haven't broken it already. If you break your leg, we're taking it off. Come to the hospital right now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So I went straight to the hospital and checked in. And
right.
It's public there, man. It's a public deal. So we know that anything you deal with the public, nothing happens quickly. And that includes healthcare. So I check in for the weekend, and they start running tests on me. And, it's an anomaly, man. This thing is not normal, what happened. And so, I stayed over the weekend, and I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm running a business. You guys call me when you need me to do a test. I'll be here.
Oh, geez.
Yep. So I checked out, and I said, look, I'll be here for anything, but I'm not laying here in the hospital bed. I got business to run. I got things to do. And so back and forth, in and out of the hospital for 6 months. What they would do is they would do the x-rays, they'd do the scans. They would create the implant. By the time they were ready to do the implant, the cancer had progressed, and the implant wouldn't fit.
Oh,
so they would
Are
start
they giving you any kind of cancer treatment?
Not at this point. They were just going to cut it all out.
No chemo, no
nothing.
Radiation, nothing.
We're just cutting it out. We're cutting it out. We're putting in an implant.
Oh my God.
And like back then, we're 5 years, from that now. So I know the things now, but I never had an health issue, man. Broken ankle a couple times.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
So, I'm just doing what everybody says.
Nothing equips you for this kind of a deal, right?
No way, man. No way. Goodness gracious. So, third time through, the doc came in and said, look, it's progressed too far. We're cutting your leg off.
Oh, my God.
And, after 6 months of everything, of in and out of the hospital and in and out of a dementia nursing home that they put me in for a while, and they thought I had dementia and all this craziness and, the nut farm and all that stuff, I just lost it, and my parents would be on the phone with me at that time. Finally, my folks would get on the phone with me, and they'd say, I had them as my support group.
Sure.
Because what happens a lot of times with these kind of things
across the globe, it's hard. Yeah.
Exactly. But at least they're the sanity on the phone. Because what happens is, you're like, oh, I'm going to talk to the doctor about this, and he comes in and he says something, and you blank out. You talk for 30 minutes.
You need to have somebody else there to process it. Absolutely. And remember what they're saying to you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
no, get that.
Yeah,
learn that after.
My wife has me go with her sometimes. If it's something big.
Sure, I get it.
Just so I can listen.
That's it. That's it, man.
So, God, so
So my dad stepped in and said, "You're not cutting this guy's leg off. You're not doing that. He's a fighter. He's not a quitter. He's never quit on anything. If anybody can make this leg work, he'll make it work." And he said, "Well, his life will be better and easier if we cut it off." And my dad said, "Leave it." He said, "If you don't leave it, I'm flying him home tomorrow." So the doctor left it. And so just to give you an idea, just to give you an idea. So they removed, I don't know if we can see that. You see that?
Yeah,
So
sure.
That's how much. That's a lot
that
bone they took out. So they took out all that.
Right.
Okay. And
Getting awful near your spine there.
and oh yeah. And so to give you an idea, this is what my spine looks like. So this is a regular pelvis. This is the regular side.
Right.
So anything from this side over, gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And that eventually, it made me handicapped. My leg was shorter than the other, several inches.
Right.
And then on the next scan, I thought we were done. Got out, 4 months in the hospital, all the thing. Back at work.
Oh my God.
The next scan, lung and pancreas cancer. I couldn't believe it. So the pancreas was the next big deal. And obviously that's like less than a 5% chance. Okay. So
Of survival, you're saying.
correct. Yes. That's
bad.
less than 5. Yeah. It's bad.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So on that deal, we had the surgery, COVID hit, everybody's locked down, it's so lonely, you're all by yourself, no one's in the hospital with you, it's all that kind of thing. Had the surgery, went fine. Got the debrief report, misdiagnosis. Cut out half my pancreas and spleen. It ended up being a mistaken blood clot.
Oh my God.
Yep. It gets better.
How can you laugh?
It gets
about
better,
that?
Mark.
No, I mean,
It gets
going
man.
absolutely.
A lot of
mad.
therapy, man. A lot of therapy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was tough. It's bittersweet, right? The thing is, I was like, well, I dodged the cancer,
Right.
but now you got health issues
Right.
for the rest of your life
Sure.
because you don't have part of the stuff that you're supposed to have
Right.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it because it's public. You can fill out a complaint form and they throw it in the rubbish.
Right.
Okay, fine. Let's get past that. So then we had the lung thing. Had the lung thing, had the lung cancer. That's okay. That got infected. Oh yeah, by the way, the hip was infected from the start since the very first
Surgery.
removal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was infected for a while. Doctor decided we're going to go in, we're going to take out this little wire that we've put in to kind of help hold the leg. That's the reason the infection. Botched up the surgery, messed me up, gave me a surgical hernia, bladder issues, and removed the wire. And what it caused was where the hip began to come upwards. Okay, so it had nothing to hold it here. Here you have this little wire thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so then the wire was gone. So then over time it just continues to go up like Jello.
Leg is just getting
Yeah.
shorter
Yeah.
and shorter. There's
Yep.
nothing to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is the kind of shoe that I ended up having to wear. That's a
Wow.
4.25-inch lift.
Man.
Okay, told me I'd never walk again. I'd be on crutches in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Be handicapped. That would be my life.
Yep.
Still, you know what? I'm running my business.
Yeah.
Still running my business.
How the heck were you doing it all?
You know what? I've had a lot of people ask me that, and you know what? I was really worried in the beginning. That's why I kept checking myself out of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
These guys can't do it on their own. Eventually, you know what? I got to the point where I couldn't.
Sure.
And so, you know what? It was good for me from the standpoint of I had something to focus on, had something to work on, had something to deal with besides laying there, looking at the wall, waiting on the doctor to come talk to me every day.
Yeah.
Because I was in the hospital 9 months over 2 years.
Dude.
But I ran my business, man. I put the laptop up on the
little table.
on the table, man. And my suppliers would come in and meet me. I couldn't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
I couldn't even roll over.
Right.
My suppliers would come in and meet me. My staff were coming in. We're having meetings. We're doing our thing. We're still working. So a couple hours a day, man, I'd get away from it. And I think it kind of saved me to a degree. It saved my sanity to a bit. And, my team got to where I couldn't do everything. They couldn't
Sure.
depend on me to show them how to do everything. They had to go learn how to do it and say, look, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll never leave you. I'll always be here, but you have to go do it yourself now.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, come back. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
We'll fix it together. And so I had some guys that, they stepped up, they grew, they became unbelievable. Some of them moved on since then, but, they wanted to, I'm a good boss, man.
Yeah.
I'm a good guy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I treat my staff like family.
Sure.
I've done all sorts of
believe you.
things. I've done all sorts of things, man. Have their car fixed, give them money on the weekend, buy their Christmas presents, do whatever, man.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to keep their job.
That's good. So that got you through that. But then what? Now you got lung cancer.
Yeah, so
that's not good.
So I had the lung surgery. Yeah, I had the lung surgery, and that got infected. And then they came in and they did the hip thing again when I was just totally out of my mind with, being on drugs from the lungs. So they just kind of told me they were doing it. I was all alone, no one to, and I was kind of thinking, okay. So they did that, and so then that really messed the leg up.
Right.
And it didn't fix the infection either, so I still had the infection. Okay, man, 2.5 months in the hospital. Supposed to be a couple weeks, turned into 2.5 months. Get out, all over again, just trying to get back to life and do my thing and work. Next scan, no, you do have pancreas cancer, for real. This is for real. For real. I'm like, well, you wouldn't do a biopsy last time. Let's do a biopsy this time. Mm-hmm. So a couple of months of me arguing back and forth with the pancreatic surgeon. When they found the cancer, it was the size of a couple of nickels. Okay, mm-hmm. That's how big it was. After 4 months of arguing with the doctor, getting a biopsy and everything, it was the size of a tennis ball. Okay,
poor guy.
It was growing into my stomach lining. I had a scan, went into a private radiologist because these guys were dragging their feet, and I figured out what was going on later. They were just waiting me out. They were waiting me out. I mean, it's public, it's a business. They're not going to do anything for me. And so I went to a private guy, and I had a serious talk with him. He said, look, we it's too far. Mm-hmm. We won't do anything for you. We won't do surgery. It's too risky. We won't do radiation. That's too risky. So you can go home. And I'm like, and wait to die? And he's like, well, you can go home. And I'm like, man, I know the stats. With mm-hmm. treatment, it's less than 5%. You're telling me to go home with no
treatment. Yeah.
And so, there was this thing the whole time. I was like, am I going to come home and be with my parents, or am I going to run my business? Or I've got free health care here. I don't have it in the States. What am I going to do? I haven't lived here in, 15 years or whatever.
Sure.
Well, my dad and I started talking. He's like, the healthcare rules have changed. Mm-hmm. You ought to check into it and see if you can still get something with pre-existing conditions if it's affordable. Because I wasn't going to come home and die on my parents and bankrupt them.
Right.
Bankrupt the whole family and die. I'd rather just die and be sad.
Yeah.
That's practical.
Okay.
I approach this thing like a business, just nothing but facts and practicality. And that's how I think I got through it. These are the facts. This is what's going to happen. Yeah. Try to take your emotions out of it, even though.
Just accepted your fate. Basically.
I'd go to the hospital, and they tell me I was dying, and I'd go back to the factory an hour later, and I didn't have to work for 7 or 8 hours until I got home at night. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of just fall apart when you get home by yourself. But, that's what I did. That's what I did, man. And so I decided I was coming home. They'd given me a year. They say you got a year to live.
Coming home here to Arkansas, we're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
To be with my folks.
Right.
For the final year.
And they lived here then.
Correct.
They moved from Louisiana, sometime back.
Yeah. My dad was a supplier to Walmart for a long time. And so.
Okay.
So I came home and I decided, you know what? I've drug them everywhere. They've been all over the world with me with this stuff, down in New Zealand. It was hard on us all. Very hard being away from home. I'm just starting at the local clinic. I'm not going to MD Anderson. I'm not doing all this big stuff. Let's just start local. So
we fortunately have a pretty good cancer clinic here. Several of those doctors are personal friends of mine over there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's a great place, man.
So, yeah.
I mean,
Chardo Smith is one of them, and Brooke Brander. I don't know if you know either of them.
I know those guys, yeah.
But, Brooke's a woman, but, yeah.
Okay.
And Hershey Garner. I know.
Hershey.
I don't know Hershey well. I know his wife better than... And I don't really know her that well either, but Denise, my wife certainly knows him.
Hershey saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Hershey and his team literally saved my life.
Obviously, you're here, and
I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm a less than 5%.
You're here and clear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So then, by the time we decided the day I got off the plane. I know it's a big story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's got a good ending.
Yes.
We're still here, man.
Exactly. God love you.
Yeah, just bulldog, man. Bulldog, baby. That's all I can say is, just never quit on anything.
Uh-huh.
And by that time...
It's a good quality in business and in life, right?
It is. So we're one softball less in this world because I had a softball zapped out of me, man.
Oh, my God.
That's the size the sucker was when Hershey got it.
Uh-huh.
And so then, I had the scan. We're clear. It's amazing. It's a miracle, really. It is a miracle. And
were you doing things like change your diet all through this?
I had an epiphany moment.
Because, my dad was a cancer survivor.
Okay.
At 69, he had really bad colon cancer.
Right.
And 17 of his lymph nodes were affected. I mean, I got 5 physicians in my family. Basically, my brother told him, you got 1 to 5 years to live.
Yep.
And he used to get his chemo. He got on a clinical trial and he'd get chemo. And then he would work out for hours after that.
Yeah.
Of course, he was exhausted, which it takes. But I think that worked it through his body.
Yep.
He lived to be 96.
Unbelievable.
Cancer-free after that.
I love it. I love it, man.
But he did watch his diet, and his exercise was extreme.
I did all that. I did all that stuff, yeah.
And Matt Waller at the U of A also had a similar, experience with cancer. And I know he really worked out and watched his diet and got himself in good shape.
Yep. I think you have to. And, the biggest thing really is your mindset.
Yeah.
That's what you really got to change. That's what I really had to work on was, I've got this practical mind. I've got 4 or 5 physicians telling me you're going to die. I got a report, but I'm going to beat this.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat this. And so, that's what I did. I changed all those things. I really did. Yeah. And
it was helpful to have your mom and dad here and all. Yeah.
Wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah.
It was a team deal.
Right.
We're all together. I'm definitely aged them a bit with all this stuff,
But they got to be proud of you, though.
Yeah.
To see. So you got through it all. You're here. Now what the heck happened to the popcorn business?
Well, yeah. And so then I have this hip thing. Let me tell you about that real quick. So I have this hip thing. Right. And I was told I'd never walk again. So I had the infection, had an ID doc, local guy here. Okay. We worked together. We beat the hip infection that I had for 2 years, couldn't get rid of.
Wow.
So we beat that, had to beat the infection to work on a hip implant. Found this.
Who was that by chance?
That was Dan Young.
Okay.
Dan Young, yep. Infectious disease of Northwest Arkansas. Guy's awesome, man. Man, he's a bulldog too, man. He's like, first day I went in there, he's like, we're going to get this. We're going to get it. We're going to get it, and I'm going to give you a chance to get that leg.
Yeah.
And so, because, what I want to do is I want to be off the crutches.
Sure.
It's like, beat the cancer, beat the infections, off the crutches.
Yep.
So, I have a orthopedic advisor guy, Dr. Montgomery, down in Arkansas, down in Little Rock. And, I catch up with him and I said, man, I want to walk again. And I said, I've been going to everybody all over the country. No one will do anything to this leg. I said, they told me there's not enough real estate left to do anything.
Right.
And he said, look, I got a guy that worked under me. He's at Mayo. I said, I've been to Mayo. He said, I'm into this guy. He does these things. So we were in the middle of the largest, most complex hip implant ever done in the world with proprietary procedures that have never been done in a guinea pig. And so this is what this thing looks like right now, man. So just to give people an idea, like this is kind of what a normal hip implant would look like.
Right.
Yep. And this is what the largest, most complex hip implant in the whole world looks like.
Wow.
7 or 8 screws, 3 rods in my spine, all the way to the other side, all over the place. But hey, man.
Structural integrity, baby.
All this is. It's a construction project on a human. That's all this is. It's just a big.
You're gonna be totally bionic, man.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try.
So when are they gonna do this for you?
So that's in right now.
Okay.
So, but that didn't give me the whole length. That's in. So, and you saw, man, I came in on 1 crutch today. So I'm getting closer to walking. And then down the road, we can do what they call a bone lengthening procedure.
I know what that is, sure.
Yeah. So that would be pretty gnarly. So that's an option down the road. Let's just get through this first.
Right.
And in the middle of this,
Getting through that, I mean, that's the hard part right there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trickiest part, going near your spine and everything with all that hardware.
That's why no one want to touch me. They're like, man, if this infection and you get to start getting into everywhere else, you just die in a minute. I'm like, well, I've had 2 pulmonary embolisms. I've had cancer 3 times. I've had like 15 surgeries. I've just, over and over and over, man. It's like the, cat with 9 lives, man.
But so you're obviously on your way to getting yourself completely back to functionality here.
That's what I'm working on. Yeah. I'm not going to run a marathon, but I just want to have my hands back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's it.
Great attitude. So what happened with the popcorn business?
So yeah. So the whole time, so that was a whole challenge in itself, right?
Yeah.
Moving back here and having to run it remotely. I've done that for 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't know how. I have no idea.
It's a long way away for
I
sure.
have no idea. You know,
Totally different time zone. You're completely out of sync.
schedule backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my week starts on Sunday, midday, afternoon.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just is what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So made it work, whole different set of challenges, had cameras, had good staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we paid the bills, we made the orders, we did our stuff. But, you know, I knew it was, it wasn't going to be a long-term deal for me to go back.
Sure.
And so my business partner and I had agreed that we were going to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it took us about a year and a half, 2 years to do that. But we successfully completed the transaction over Super Bowl weekend.
And who'd you sell it to?
A Kiwi guy.
Okay.
Yeah, Kiwi guy that had been in the food business. He had been in, he's worked as a account manager nationally and within the chicken industry. So he knew the supermarkets, he knew the food, he wanted to do his own thing. And so it was a good transition.
Good.
It was a good move over to him. And, you know, you just want to see your baby, you know, see that thing just carry on.
And so your partner, he got out at the same time?
Yeah, we got out together. And he's got several other things that he does. And this was my primary focus.
So just out of curiosity, did you have to finance it to the buyer? Is that part of your deal?
No, we didn't. No,
Okay.
he bought it outright.
That's good.
Yeah, he bought it outright. So I don't know what he did on his end, but you know, we got all the money at once.
Good.
Which was kind of part of the deal. You know, I didn't want to have to deal with that.
Sure.
You know, because I'm ready. You know, it's like it's been a chapter in my life. It's time to move on to a new thing.
As they say, whether you're buying or selling, the price is only one consideration. The terms may be more critical.
Very true.
You know,
Very true. That's exactly right.
So,
yeah, very true. Very true.
well, good. So you're out of that. Now what are you going to do, Trent?
You know, gosh, you know, I am looking for something to do.
Okay.
I really am. And, you know, what I've done in the last year or so is, you know, kind of fell on me that, you know, people would ask me, oh, well, why are you on crutches? And I kind of shortly, you know, in a 30 seconds or a minute, tell my story. And they're like, that's amazing. So they're like, you really should write a book or you should be on podcast or something.
Sure.
So I started doing podcasts. And so now I'm kind of moving into the public speaking thing a bit. And I'm looking at kind of
I'm sure. Well, you're inspirational.
Well, I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be, man. You know, it's like, you know, the story is you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. Just never quit. Just never quit. You never quit. You never fail.
It's so true.
Isn't it?
It really is. I hate failure. You know, this whole idea that you'll see a lot of it in sort of the pop business media. It's fail quick, fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, avoid failure if you can. You know, if it happens, learn from it.
I don't like it. It's hard to get out of the hole.
Yeah, but there's a difference in total failure and failing at an experiment.
Yeah.
I love experiments. We all fail at experiments. Like you said, some of your flavors or sizes, they don't work, okay?
Right.
But the key is if it fails, then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's not like you go, oh, it failed. My whole business is crap. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's that experiment failed, but we'll try something else now.
That's it.
You know? And it sounds like, you know, it's the same thing with your healthcare. It's like, well, you get the wrong answer from somebody, I'll try something else.
That's what we do. You know, I figured out. That's what I figured out. It's like I'm the quarterback.
Entrepreneurship applied to your health.
You got it. Yeah. You know, that's really kind of how I got was a business. Tried to apply it in a business setting. Just think of.
Yeah, it's so hard though.
Oh, I mean,
when your survival is on the line, it's hard to maintain your sanity. I'm sure.
Oh, it was.
But you've done an amazing job.
I don't know, man. It's been some long days, been some, you know, loneliness. You know, it's very lonely during COVID.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dealing with all this all by myself. My parents couldn't come. No one could come in the country.
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Couldn't do anything. I mean.
Sounds horrible.
It was rough. It was rough.
Sounds like hell on earth.
It was. And, you know, you appreciate just the simple things in life, like walking around.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
In the sunshine.
Yeah. I mean, really, you know,
we
you know, everything's, you know, we're so gratified now and everything's so instant. You know, it's just, you know, human beings, you know, they do that.
We don't appreciate stuff until we don't have it.
That's exactly what's happening.
And we're so spoiled in this country with so many good things that we have. And it is distressing, you know.
I've been to a lot of countries. I've lived in a lot of countries, and I'm telling you, this is the best place.
I believe it.
It is hands down. This is the best opportunity. It's the best place to live. Nothing in the world's perfect, but you know, there ain't nothing better.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm back. I'm here now.
Well, I hope you do well with your speaking and inspiring people.
Appreciate it.
And, And, my guess is, knowing guys like you, it'll be a little while. You'll be starting something else. Okay?
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
I've already worked like 30 hours this week. I've already put in like 30 hours this week, and I don't even have a job right now. But hey, man, I've done it a lot. I need some time.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can. I'm glad you're in a position where you can take that. But I also know that once you get your head in the game, it's hard to stop doing it. You like to build. You like to create good jobs for people. These are the things that business ownership does for you.
Yeah.
You want to do something better than what's out there.
Right. That's right.
And it's just it's a basic need, and it's for when it works, it's very gratifying.
Yeah, it is. It is. That was one of my stipulations with the new owner is like, you're taking everybody. Mm-hmm. I've supported these guys have been with me.
Right.
And they got families and mouths to feed and things like that. And so, you need to offer every one of them a contract or we can't make the deal happen. Good. So every one of them, are still there.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, it's been great having you here today. I look forward to having you come speak to my students as we discuss.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
They'll appreciate your story for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
And I love bringing in people who've been successful.
Appreciate it.
And you've been successful.
Yeah.
Not just in business, but in life.
Well,
I
just, I just hope, somebody that hears it says, you know what, man, if that guy went through all that, I can get through what I'm going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Well, we like to keep this podcast on a happy note.
Yeah, sure.
And this has definitely been one of those good stories that hopefully will make people feel good.
I hope so, too.
Now, do you have any jokes for us, though?
Oh, my God. Jokes? That's a random one. No, I don't really have any good, I don't have really any good jokes for you. No.
Shoot. Well,
golly, I should have like a popcorn joke, I should have a couple of those, but I'm just, I'm a blank at the moment.
Next time.
Yeah, okay.
Next time, you better bring a popcorn joke along with you. All right. Well, listen, Trent, we appreciate you being here with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me share my story. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's a great story. And meanwhile, if any of you have any questions for either Eric Howerton or myself, please feel free to get on our website, bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and send them in. If you have any suggestions for who should be on the show, we've got an extensive list of future guests coming up, but we're always interested to hear about people who've been successful, people who had struggles and overcame them, and people who are doing great things right now. We love to hear from you. And otherwise, this has been another episode of, you got to say it along with me now since Eric's not here. Big Talk About Small Business. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.